Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel with myself, Isabella. Now, judging by the title of this video, you may be expecting me to give you some 5-minute tips and tricks, but the short answer is, as we know, ballet takes so much hard work and time. In this day and age of instantaneous results, we expect instant gratification and the instant rewards. But I think it's good to remind you guys that, especially with something like ballet, which is so elitist and so difficult to get good, it takes a lot of patience and time. However, there are some things we can do to speed up the process. And part of that is being super organized with your strategy, how you spend your time, what exercises you do, and just being really clear on your goals. So I'm going to share with you a few things that you can do so you feel organized and that you're on your way to your dream and your goals. So the first thing is going to be having a vision board, and that can be in any way you want. It doesn't necessarily need to be on a big board in your room, although it's very nice to actually see something in front of you each day. You can also have it on your computer, such as a Pinterest board, this kind of thing. And having a vision board just really helps you think and visualize where it is you want to get to. For example, it can have your favorite ballerinas on there. It can have people like, well, mine was Svetlana Zakharova, Lopatkina, Sylvie Guillem, all of the dancers who are very tall and most of the time looked like me and who I could see myself being one day. And just seeing them made me feel like that is who I want to become. I want to leave a legacy like these people. I want to have the opportunities like they do. So that really, really helped me. Along with that, it was things like, what type of person do I want to be? What type of person do you want to be? A confident one, an ambitious one, an organized one. And you can write these words down on your vision board. You may have a dream school or company you really want to go to, and you can print out the pictures of the school and put them on there. And I find that kind of action, and it's a known fact that people with vision boards, people who see where they want to go, are much more likely to end up there. Imagine if you got up every morning and looked at your vision board and you just reminded your brain, even subconsciously, that that is where we're headed, that is where we're going to go. And you almost believe it's going to happen before it happens. I often found when I was in school and I was looking at amazing dancers like Olga Smirnova, who was a year above me, she often acted like a principal dancer even before she was one. And it's partly this. It's the idea of seeing where you want to go, your dream, and playing the part of that person you want to become before you actually are. So it's much more than a vision board itself. It's like embodying that person you want to be. So if you think about and get clear on who your future self is, are they confident? And start today, start embodying that kind of character and person, and it will become natural for you and you're more likely to achieve what you want. Vision boards also help you remind yourself why you are doing something every day. We're not going to wake up super motivated or disciplined every single day. We will have those moods where we just are tired, we don't want to do anymore. But waking up and reminding yourself reminds you of your mission, of your purpose in life, and where you want to get to. And so that's why I definitely love them. Good. Now let's talk about the next thing, which is, I find something so important, which is having a plan. I'm very much a planner, and I think having a plan in life is, you don't necessarily need to know where you want to get to in 10 years, but we can have that kind of end goal of I want to get into these dream companies, hopefully. But having a plan as to, let's say you're a student, as to what school you want to go to can be really beneficial. So let's look at all the things. If you want to get into a pro ballet school, let's say the Royal Ballet School, Vaganova, how are we going to get there? Let's say you're in a local school at the moment. I, for one, went to a vocational school before the Royal Ballet School. And although that was really great for me, it was already a step up from Saturday ballet classes. We were doing modern, jazz, contemporary, ballet, and also drama. So the day was filled with lots of things and it wasn't so centered on ballet. So I realized that I'm not going to get as good at ballet as someone who's already training a lot in ballet, which is why I then decided, okay, my plan of action here, my strategy was I need to get myself a private coach. And so that was a very strategic, organized decision. I knew that I had to work a bit harder if I wanted to get at the level of these other children who were in pro ballet schools. So I decided to get a Russian coach on the weekends. And I also realized my dream at the time was to go to the Royal Ballet School. I had been rejected the first time, which was obviously devastating, but I decided I need to get a close connection with them. So I made the plan to get accepted into the mid-associates, which is when we train with them with their outreach teachers on a Saturday. And that as well wasn't enough, so I had my Russian coach on the Sunday. And as I said, ballet is so difficult. And if you're not in a pro ballet school, if you're in a school which has lots of curricular activities, or even you're only training on the weekends, and let's say you're young, 9, 10, 11, those primitive years are some of the most important years of your journey. And so it's really key you have good teachers at that time. Otherwise, if I'm completely honest, you are likely, and there's risk of you not being at the level you need to be by the time you're 13. And there'll be other kids who are coming in from Australia, Japan, and the Royal Ballet School, for example, might take these foreigners. And it's risky when we aren't at that level. So take things under your own hands. You don't necessarily just need to rely on outreach programs or Saturday classes. Get yourself a private coach. I would say with a private coach, you can really improve drastically and quickly, as long as obviously they're fantastic. Even though I was aiming for the Royal Ballet School, it wasn't a bad thing that I had a Russian coach. So don't worry too much about the technique. You just want to get good, strong, and have a good foundation. Along with this, it's a really good idea to get subscribed to an online studio so you can do your classes at home and do extra stuff. Let's say you are someone who can only train in a physical studio on the weekend. What are we going to do in the week to improve? You can do your feet exercises, you can do your core workouts, you can work on your turnout, your flexibility, all whilst being at home and just looking online with reliable people. Obviously, check out the balletwithisabella.com platform, as we've got everything, literally everything you need. And just try it for 2 weeks, see if it works for you. But we are totally here for you on that. And it ranges from beginner to pro. So we really pride ourselves in knowing you're getting everything you possibly can need. Along with this, practice alone. Now, obviously, if you're super young, be careful. Even just practicing your feet exercises alone and just making time for them is going to be good for you, and practicing the basics of your pliés, your tendus. But all these little things add up. Even if you practiced 5 minutes a day, just, okay, I did that on the weekend with my teacher. Throughout the week, I'm going to perfect that and improve it. Write your corrections down. Instantly, you're improving a lot over the course of 1 month. You've got your online work, you've got the weekend, you've got your private coach, and already you're closer to training like a professional would in a pro ballet school. And then you're not going to worry so much and be scared that you're behind because you've got this strategic plan. Okay, the next thing will be setting mini goals and deadlines for yourself. Now, obviously, you may have large, long-term goals. Like I said, I want to get into this company. I want to do 32 fouettes. But if we can't do a single pirouette yet, let's work backwards. But having mini goals really breaks down the gap between where you're starting and where you want to finish. Because often, let's say we're at 1 pirouette, but we need to do 32 fouettes one day. If you only think about the 32 fouettes, that's really difficult. And it seems like it's completely far away. And we lose motivation. We can find it hard to have the motivation or even have the belief that we will ever get there. So let's break it down a little bit more and think, okay, I've got 1 pirouette. How am I going to get to the next level? And so we set mini goals, such as maybe we start doing 32 calf rises or build up to 32. Maybe we can only do 16 for now. Maybe we start working on consistent doubles. And all these things really help you take those step-by-step goals and eventually get to where you want to go to. So with that, you can set deadlines for yourself. I find setting deadlines is a really good way to keep yourself going and keep that momentum going. So if I say to myself, okay, I want to, and I often did this, I want to have triple pirouettes by this date. And definitely make it realistic for yourself. We can't say I want triple pirouettes by tomorrow, because that's not going to happen, and it's definitely not going to be consistent. But if you say I want consistent pirouettes by next month, then you've got 4 weeks to have an action plan and a strategic strategy to get the 3 pirouettes. And then you'll be proud of yourself. It would have been realistic. And then you'll be like, cool, I've got that now. I know exactly what to think about to do 3 pirouettes every time in front of my teacher. And now I'm going to take that into the next goal, which will be the next priority for you. I always suggest, as ballet students, we often have a very long list of things we want to improve. Let's break it down. And we do this with our top tier members who get a plan. We think, okay, they've come to us with a lot of problems, a lot of things they want to work on. Let's break it down. What are the top 3 things for you right now? And they might say it's turnout, back flexibility, pirouettes. And we go, okay, so let's break those goals down and give 20 minutes to this one, 20 minutes to this one, etc. for the week. And then we build up from there. And it can just be a really useful way to really target those goals and make a lot of progress with 3 of them, the 3 top things. And once those are much more consistent, we can then add in the other things and keep the momentum going just enough so we maintain the progress of the main goals. This moves us on to the next thing, which is probably one of the most important ones, which is to be very, very consistent. Consistent with everything I've been saying. Consistent with your plan, consistent with your strategy, and consistent with your habits in general. It's a habit to get up and look at your vision board. It's a habit to do some mobility work first thing in the morning. It's a habit to do your feet exercises. Nothing is done instantaneously. You're not going to get loads of results after 1, even 2 days, even a week, maybe a little bit, but not lasting results. I think a lot of us give up at the first hurdle. We think, oh, I'm not improving fast enough. And a lot of that's due to social media. We see results and we wonder why we don't have those. And we give up, when actually, no, it's just about being a little bit more patient with yourself and taking time. Along with that, we don't compare to other people's journeys, which we'll get into as well in another point in a second. But being consistent is your best friend. So many people who are less talented make it just because they are more consistent at doing their workouts, doing their conditioning, than someone who's more talented but doesn't put the same amount of effort in. For example, when I went to the Russian school, I was so far behind the others, very far behind. Thought, how am I ever going to catch up? How am I ever going to get to the center bar, for example? But I decided, okay, I need to work like a dog. I need to work like crazy in order to get there. So I was very disciplined with that work. For example, I did my conditioning every day. I did my stretching every day, and I did my 1 to 2 hours of practice every night. And I knew it wouldn't be permanent. I knew this wouldn't be a sustainable thing to do for a very long time, but it was something I did for a period of time extremely consistently. And I just kept taking over the people in my class. And then all of a sudden I was sort of crowned as the best in class. And it seems like it happens out of nowhere, but actually it's down to your consistent work. So really take that as real importance and a top priority for you. Consistency is key and your best friend. The next thing I want to talk about is being super vulnerable with your mistakes. I think, once again, in this generation, we hate failing. We hate feeling like we're not perfect. And especially amongst ballet students, we think we're very perfectionist. We think everything needs to be perfect all the time. And I was definitely guilty of this, which is why I also really enjoyed practicing on my own, because I felt very safe in that environment. No one was here judging me. No one was here looking at my errors. But I think even in your ballet classes, don't be afraid if you fall over. So many of the Russian students used to fall over and laugh it off. Sometimes they get dramatic and cry, but we kind of got over it and then we moved on. Mistakes are a part of it. And you'll find that any professional who you look up to, they've only ever got there because of their mistakes. We don't learn from our successes. We enjoy those, but where we really improve is when we make those errors and we learn from them and then we move on from them. And so you should almost embrace the mistakes, embrace these lessons that you're learning, because without them, everything is kind of lucky and you're not really becoming an intelligent dancer. If everything was perfect all the time, think how you wouldn't really be learning anything. You think, yeah, I pirouette and it goes well, but I don't even know why. Whereas if you were pirouetting, falling out of it, and then thought, okay, what's going on? Let me try to fix this. Then you will learn exactly what you need to do every single time so it is consistent. And that is a relaxing place to be in. You know that when you go on stage and you think about this, that it's going to work. And not only that, you become an intelligent dancer and an educated one. So be vulnerable and open to your mistakes. Moving on to the next point, which is don't be afraid to move on and move away if something isn't serving you. And that could be an individual, such as your teacher, your coach, or even a school. So you may find that a coach who did do a good job for you and served you can't serve you anymore. Sometimes it does happen where we get to such a high level, or we get to a level higher than the teacher can accommodate you, that they say that you have to then move on and find somebody else. And that actually happened to me when I was a young student. I was by no means amazing at all, but I'd reached the limit as to what this teacher could give me. And they actually said, which was honorable of the teacher, they said, I can't do anything more for you. You're going to have to find someone else. Hopefully it was because I was more talented than what she could do rather than she was sick of me. But then I found my Russian coach and then things really took off for me. But it can get a little dark with this. Like, let's say the teacher you're with just isn't very nice to you, or doesn't understand when you ask questions, or you just don't gel as teacher to student. You don't have to stick around anywhere. It's your life, it's your choices. You can do whatever you want. You want to change coaches, then change. You don't owe anyone anything at the end of the day. Ballet is such a short career, and you need to get the training and the correct training you need right now, and you cannot waste any time. And let's say you're in a ballet school. For example, going to Vaganova for me, as you guys know, for some of you who've been following me, was very, very scary. And I was still quite connected and wanting to be a part of the Royal Ballet School at the time. I hadn't completely let go of that idea. And so I said to myself, okay, look, I'll go to Vaganova if I'm absolutely hating this, if I just basically can't handle it, if the teaching is too scary for me or it's just not for me, then I can leave. I can go home. I'll just run away, get on the plane and go. You don't have to stay anywhere. And I think that's sometimes, if you're quite an anxious person, which I definitely am and was 100 times more then, that helped me kind of just be okay with going there. It was like, okay, if I hate it, I can leave. Like, I don't have to stay. So whatever the situation is, be it they're nice, but they're not quite getting you where you want to be, or the environment's not great and you're not enjoying it, then look at other options. Don't be afraid to be brave and take the plunge to find another choice for you. Do things that help you get seen. So this can be summer schools or competitions. I'm kind of wary mentioning competitions because I think they are so focused on at the moment, and a lot of children and students that I see abroad, I think, personally focus a bit too much on competitions. They do competitions, maybe some of them like 7 times a year, and take away a lot of the focus from the classwork, from building the technique, from building their foundations. And then when I go there and I have class with them, I think, okay, we still don't know how to do a proper tendu. And when you audition for a ballet school, that's the thing they're looking at. Yes, it's nice for them to see your stage presence and to see how you perform on stage. But as a 12-year-old, you don't need to be able to do Black Swan. Like, we need to be able to see that you can do good tendus, good jeté, and that they have the canvas that they can mold, the canvas that they can paint, you know? So along with that, summer schools are really good. Summer schools and competitions are a good place. So let's talk about why. Summer schools I went to were the Royal Ballet School and Princess Grace. Now, I never just did random summer schools because, to be honest, I really enjoyed my summer holiday and I wanted a break after the hard year I just had at whatever school I was at. But I wasn't in the Royal Ballet School yet, and I really wanted to go there. So I knew that there were teachers at the summer school who were literally from the Royal Ballet School. So let's be smart here. I want to get into the Royal Ballet School, so let's do their summer school. So I did their summer school twice, and I really pushed myself. I was a confident student. I was keen. It wasn't confident in the sense of arrogance. There's a real difference. I definitely did not feel amazing. I had a lot to work on, but I was confident in my ability to listen and learn and apply corrections. And I think there's a lot of respect you need to give in the classroom to really be attentive to the teacher, listen to what they're saying. And the mark of a good student, and what teachers notice, especially in high caliber establishments like the Royal Ballet School, is the student's ability to see what the teacher wants from them and apply the correction straight away. And instantly they're like, that's a good student, that's someone I can work with, that's someone who's going to improve quickly and at the rates we need them to within this school. So I had a great time at the Royal Ballet School, summer school. Obviously it was less stressful than the actual school itself, but it's in the school and you just get a real feel of the school. You decide whether it's where you want to go. And for me at the time, it was a really kind of, magical experience, because it made me think of what could be. It was still very scary, but I thought, okay, I'm determined to get a place here. And then when you actually do the auditions for these schools, they know you already, and they think, oh yes, I remember her at the summer school. She was good. She was attentive. And then subsequently, I got into the school. Same with Princess Grace. I auditioned for the Princess Grace School in Monaco, and I went there for their summer school, which was, at the time, I was auditioning for Vaganova as well. So this was before I was maybe going to go to the upper school at the Royal Ballet School, which I also was accepted to. And I thought, okay, I've got to keep my options open. So I went to Monaco, another fabulous school, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was before Marika, the director, died, but we had class with Roland Vogel, and who is Friedemann Vogel's older brother, an amazing dancer, an amazing teacher. And I got so much valuable feedback from that time. And opening your mind up to also just other areas and other teachers and other students is a really useful thing to do. But I think don't waste your time going into schools, summer schools or institutions where you don't necessarily want to go. They're usually quite expensive, and it's an expensive trip for everybody to get there, the hotels, everything. So really be strategic with where you go, but it can be such a useful tool. As well as competitions. Like I said, be careful how much you do of those, but if you're doing a variation in a competition and you've got time to prepare it, use it as a time to challenge yourself. Choose a variation where you get to work on something and really improve yourself. Let's say you're not so great at pirouettes. Let's work on it. You don't necessarily need to use that variation. You can have a few in your repertoire. You can have one where you know you're super comfortable. You do all the skills and really well. It's got jumps in it. You're amazing at jumps. Okay, I know this one's going to be good for me. But also it's an opportunity to choose a variation to work on skills you're not so good at. Because I find when we practice variations with things that we're not so skilled in, we end up getting really good at them. There's just something about training pirouettes with classical music and knowing the musicality of it that just helps you almost forget technique in class and just gets you over the fear of doing these things you're not so good at. Along with this, going back to the point of being seen, directors are going to see you at these competitions. People from companies are going to see you at these competitions, depending. And it's just a really good way to get discovered by many people at once. And so summer schools, competitions are just a really good way to be seen. Finally, having a support system around you is just something which I think we all should have throughout this period. Often when we're training ballet, we're training from the age of 9 all the way up to 18, and it is really hard. We're growing up as a student. We're often growing into a teenager, and we know that comes with so many issues, so many things. Your hormones are going crazy and you're changing in the body, and it can be a lot to deal with. Having people around you that really support you is important. And yes, that can be your parents, friends, and I actually think about more outside help as well. So let's think about when we're at school, for example, even in a company, this applies to both. But let's focus on school, because often that's when we're trying the most to get somewhere. When we're in the schools, we may be thinking, okay, look, I'm really struggling with turnout or something else, or my body's getting really sore. And sometimes the schools don't have all the resources, all the time to help you that you need. And so it's important sometimes to, once again, be brave and look outside for help. I think a lot of parents out there are afraid to look outside because basically the schools don't want you doing anything that's outside the four walls, which is fair enough. They have their own plans and things, but there's no harm. There's no harm in getting outside help if you want it. For example, the whole time I was at the Royal Ballet School, I had my Russian coach on the weekends. And so don't limit yourself. If you feel deep in your core that you need to have something extra and have some extra help, then do it. So for me in Russia, it was getting a massage every weekend. So I couldn't often get that at the school. So I would go out, get the massage by these ballet masseuses, and then I felt so good for the next week. Along with that, in London, when I was at the Royal Ballet School, I might have my Russian coach. When I was in the company, I saw a PT outside. I had gyrokinesis teachers. And all these things really, really help you improve in the way you want to and at the rate you want to. So don't allow someone else's plan and schedule to affect yours if you have some other idea of how you want to improve. Go with your gut and do what you want, basically. So having a support system, be it outside your building with professionals or your friends, your family. And I also stress allowing yourself to have some downtime. We're obviously talking about having a massive plan and strategy, but make sure you have downtime to relax. Downtime with non-ballet people as well can be a really nice switch off. Go outside, do cultural things, see a movie, do what you like, go for brunch, go to the cinema, go to museums. It all enriches you as a person and helps you remotivate yourself for the week ahead. So there are all my tips in order to improve your ballet and improve your ballet, I would say, quickly. These are all things that can keep you consistent and keep the momentum going so that you can reach the goals and dreams you desire. Never limit yourself. Never limit what you think you are capable of, because we are all capable of much more than we often think. So go out there and go for it. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now.